Ask Reddit. What is the most wholesome act of kindness you have ever experienced/seen? One time when I was a kid, our priest from school took our class to the church to rosary and I accidentally dropped mine and it broke. So the priest gave me his that he got from the Pope. I still have it to this day. My mom moved us from Chicago to Florida the summer before I started high school. Freshman year, a buddy I met in the neighborhood and I joined the wrestling team. My mom worked day shifts and we had a meet scheduled for Saturday morning about an hour away, so my buddy's mom agreed to drive us. Saturday morning comes and my buddy is sick and decides not to go, but his mom still offered to take me. We drove the hour. I got destroyed by a senior in about 45 seconds and we head back home. On the way back, my buddy's mom asked if me and my younger brother had gotten our library cards yet. I said we hadn't due to school, sports and my mom's day shifts limiting our time. She said we should get them soon. She dropped me off at home where the neighbor was keeping an eye on my 7-year-old brother. 15 minutes later I was getting ready to make us some sandwiches when there was a knock on my door. It was my friend's mom and she said she wanted to take us for library cards and lunch. We went to local library and she signed for our cards then took us for burgers. Didn't seem like much, but 23 years later I stood as best man for her son at his wedding. My buddy from wrestling team and told this story during my speech. She had passed on 10 years earlier. I cried. He cried. My little brother who was also there cried. To this day I'm still best friends with my buddy. His mom treated me like her own anytime I was at their house and I'll never forget the day we got library cards. When my sister and her husband had covered all her friends set up a schedule on who would drop off lunch and dinner and groceries on what day. They filled up 2 weeks. When I was 15 I went to the hospital because my appendix bursted. I got so sick I almost died. During a rare moment, while I was awake, the cleaning lady came by and I smiled at her. She said something to me in Spanish as I drifted back to sleep. When I got discharged she ran to find me and gave me a get well card with her name and a smiley face inside. I still have that card. I don't know who she is or even remember her face, but I'll never forget her smile. That small act of kindness changed the way I thought about the world. When I was in 4th grade I had pretty severe dyslexia. I had a first grader's reading level. My best friend in my class was named Frances. She was the smartest person in our entire class. We got along so well. I remember her talking to our teacher after school and then asking me if I'd like to come to her house to read stories together a couple times a week. She never made me feel bad, never appeared to be frustrated, and always acted like we were having the most fun ever. We started reading stories the teacher had given her, but it was way over my head. I would leave feeling frustrated and stupid. This went on for like 2 weeks, then she told me to bring that Shel Silverstein book Where the Sidewalk Ends Over. That was it. Everything clicked. A 4th grader, taking her own time to better a friend struggling. Frances, I will forever be grateful to you. Icing on this cake, I ended up getting a job as an editor for a Hearst publication right out of college. Posted this on a similar thread, but this is mine. When I was 16, I landed myself in the ICU after a suicide attempt. I don't remember much about my time in the ICU, but I do remember the nicest thing anyone ever did for me. The paramedic that brought me to the hospital the night before came up and asked to see how I was doing. This perfect stranger that had known me for all of 45 minutes took time out of his day to see if I was doing okay. It was the most thoughtful thing anyone has ever done for me. A few years ago, right around the 10-year anniversary of that night, I had my 2 kids with my daughter's community night at her school. I went up to him and introduced him to my 2 awesome kids and told him who I was. He remembered me and we shared a very special hug. I was on a plane in Chicago going back to Los Angeles after the sin with family. As we were about to pull back from the terminal to go take off, I checked my phone for messages one more time before turning it off. My mom had sent this message while the plane was loading and I thought she was just saying goodbye. The message actually read, my dad had just had a heart attack and was being rushed to the hospital. I panicked for a moment and a stewardess saw my face and asked me what was wrong. So I told her. 2 minutes later the captain came on the PA and said we were going back to the terminal for a moment so a passenger can go take care of her sick father. I was surprised and a little embarrassed. When I got up, to get off the plane. People clapped and shouted out good wishes. I really love Chicago. I was on a boardwalk and a little girl dropped her ice cream and was so upset, but her parents were distracted with their other kids, handing out cones, and some old dude in another line just handed his fresh cone over and walked away smiling. It was around November/December, and I was behind a woman at the grocery store who did not have enough money to buy her groceries. She had 3 young kids with her, and she was having to pick and choose what they would take off. I was living paycheck to paycheck at the time myself, but felt so terrible for her, since she had kids. Couple gets in line behind me and realize what's going on. I hear them have a little convo, and one of them asks to get by me real quick. Couple behind me paid for all her groceries and added $200 gift card for future groceries. She started crying, I started crying, and cashier got weepy. Definitely took that life example and have helped others when I can now too. Between my junior and senior years of college, I was basically homeless. Dorms were shut down and I didn't have an apartment. I was shuffling between lounges in the grad student area. One day, when I was walking to work, I saw a homeless guy on the street. I bought him breakfast. The next day, I saw the same guy helping an old lady cross the street after he bought her breakfast. I thought it was cool how he passed on the good fortune. But my grandfather was rushed to the hospital while I was at school. Him and I are very close. I broke down sobbing out of fear that something would happen to him. My friends sat around me and my bestie said, "You don't have to talk. You don't have to do anything right now. We are just gonna stay right here." They got me to stop crying eventually. We were stuck in traffic at our intersection, and it was busy and there was this group of ducks with a lot of ducklings BTW, and they looked kinda confused to me, and this lady pulled over her car and guided the ducks to the sidewalk. If the ducks continued they would have most definitely gotten run over. I just found that really cute and wholesome. I got pregnant at 16 from sexual assault, a school friend of mine, one that wasn't close to me, but we talked at school, started bringing me crackers and pretzels at school for my morning sickness. First day it happened he just slowly set it on my desk without a word and patted my back. Every day after that he would give me something for my stomach. When he found out I was raising my 3 younger brothers, taking care of the house, and working under the table at night to pay the bills all while pregnant/going to school without any support or help, he started dropping by my house, same bus route, with takeout, so I wouldn't have to cook, then started spilling random $5 bills in random places around my house to help me with the bills. I didn't realize he was leaving me money at first, thinking I was just so overwhelmed I must have been setting down money and forgetting I put it down. I started crying when I figured it out because I felt so alone and overwhelmed, yet here is this saint of a guy dropping off food, gifting my money, offering to babysit the kids, even if it was just in the other room while I took a nap, coming by to empty the litter box because it wasn't healthy for me to be doing it while pregnant, rubbing my back in class when it ached, walking me to the bus when I was in the waddling stage and no one wanted to wait up for me, giving me snacks to help with morning sickness, carrying my bag for me to classes. I'm very small and my daughter was a big baby, so I was very off balance, coming by to help with dinner or cleaning at random, all without asking for anything in return and refusing to let me repay him. He made me feel like someone cared and not so alone with everything. There were nights I cried on his shoulder after putting the kids to bed because I was so stressed. He never did any of this expecting something or trying to get with me, seeing as he's gay, because many people, when I mention this story, assume he wanted to date me or wanted sex, but that wasn't the case. He's just a wonderful person. I'm glad to say years later he's doing great. He's engaged to the man he's been dating for years. He just bought his first starter home. He just graduated college and landed a great job right out of it last year and seems really happy. I'm doing a lot better too. I wish nothing but the best for that man, because I really think he kept me from giving up on life or going off the deep end when things were really rough. He was this bright beam of light when I was drowning. Thanks for watching, and remember to like and subscribe for more. See ya later.